Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to a new training inside of Legacy Farmer, covering this topic in this conversation around farmer metrics. Now, inside of this training series, I'm going to be unveiling to you exactly what the bank is thinking when they're looking at your operation. A lot of you coming into this, you're going to have loans at the bank. You're going to be working with the bank very closely. And out of every relationship you have inside of your business, the one with the bank is pretty much the most important. Right? It's pretty much the most important because if you go in at the end of the year and some bad decisions were made at the end of the year, they can literally tell you, we're not financing you next year. You have to go find somebody else. So that's why it's critical for you to understand how the bank is looking at your operation and how they're making the decisions that they're making. Okay, and inside of Farmer Metrics in this entire training, what we're going to do is cover all those. Okay, I spent 6 years as an ag loan officer. I understand exactly what the bank is thinking. And what really tied everything together for me was I got to experience in 2005 our family farm going under, right? I got to experience the emotional weight that came with that, and the resentment and the anger and the just constant kind of soul searching for my parents once they lost what they'd worked for 40 years, right? But then actually understanding why things happened the way they did. Well, I figured those things out when I got into the banking industry. I figured those things out when I started to see the numbers. I figured those things out when I started to see the decisions that were being made inside of these family farm operations, but also, too, what was not being said. You see, I had an interesting perspective inside of the bank because when I was having conversations with my clients, it wasn't just a lighthearted conversation. I couldn't sit there and not tell them what was really going on. And the reason is because I knew what was on the other side of them losing everything, because I had experienced the emotional weight. My last boss at the last bank, for example, he's the CEO of the bank. He was my high school basketball coach growing up. He didn't even grow up on a farm. So he would tell me, hey, Jace, our position with this client is tightening up a little bit. I need you to be direct with him. But at the same time, don't say something that's going to piss them off and make them take their $100,000 a year in interest that they're paying us and go to the bank across the street. And so my overall opinion right there then is, and my overall question is, okay, so you want me to lie to them? And I couldn't do it. He's like, well, no, don't lie, just be direct. No, you want me to lie to them. You want me to tell them and sugarcoat the truth to make them think, oh yeah, we're good to go. You need to be watching out for this, but we're good to go overall. You see, he doesn't understand the weight. He doesn't understand the risk and the challenges and what will happen to these families if they do make poor decisions, if they don't know what the facts are, and they end up losing everything. And this is how a majority of bankers are today. Now, am I going to war with the banks? No. I'm just saying the system is kind of broken. We have a lot of people giving financial advice, and they don't really understand the game that they're playing in or that they're trying to advise on. So inside of this training series, we're going to go through the problem and possibility, the principles, and then finally the production and the plan. And inside production and the plan, I'm actually going to lay out farmer metrics, walk you through an example, show you how to set up your account and your spreadsheets so that you can know exactly what your position is with the bank on a month-to-month basis. Now, getting started inside of the problems. Problem number one, you think the bank will save you. I'm going to repeat that. You think the bank will save you. You see, a majority of farmers and ranchers, they find peace, and they find this place of peace knowing or telling themselves a story around, oh, well, if things don't work out this year, I have equity, and whether I built that equity up myself or I inherited it from my family, the bank will take care of me. We'll just refinance everything. They'll figure it out, and the bank will take care of me. There's a vast difference between a farmer or rancher or business owner, just in general. There's a difference between somebody that built it from nothing versus somebody that just inherited it. You see, when you just inherit assets and you inherit equity, when you lose money in the year, it's no big deal. The bank's going to save you. They're just going to term out you and take another mortgage on some ground, eat up some more of your equity, and you're going to go about doing the same thing next year. Versus if you had to build this thing from literally ground zero and you had no help getting it started, this isn't your story. This isn't what you're telling yourself. Because you know deep down, if you lose $300,000 in 1 year, for you mentally, it's like, shit, that's 10 years of work. That's 10 years of equity gone like that. And the bank is not in a position where they're going to save you. Okay? So that's problem number one, is you think the bank will save you, and you tell yourself this happy and peaceful story throughout the year to keep you from facing the facts of reality that the bank will step in and save you at the end of the year. Problem number two with some farmers and ranchers and business owners. I want to be clear, I'm talking about just straight up business owners that have loans at the bank, because this is the same story. Different industries maybe, but same stories across the board. Number two, you've been conditioned to believe that your banker is a trusted advisor. Again, you've been conditioned to believe that your banker is a trusted advisor. Here is the biggest problem with this. Majority of bankers today, specifically ag bankers, okay, they are making a salary. They are wage earners. They are making anywhere from 50 to 100 grand a year. So when it comes to writing $100,000 checks or going $2.5 million in debt or buying a $300,000 piece of equipment, there is a different weight that comes with that. There are different emotions that come with that. The person that handles being $3 million in debt, running an entire team, having $5 million go through their accounts on an annual basis is vastly different from the person that's literally sitting there working 8 to 5 every day, 5 days a week, cannot wait until Friday at 5 p.m. when he gets to go home, he or she, right, and collecting $50,000 to $75,000 a year and can't wait for their 2 weeks of vacation. Like, it's a different game. It's a different field. But yet, again, how many farmers and ranchers walk around and when their banker speaks or their banker comes out to their farm operation, they take their advice like it's just absolute, like, gospel, like it's the absolute truth. And this is a massive problem because they're not in the game with you. And we're going to talk about that in one of our principles. But a lot of us, we believe that the banker is a trusted advisor. I'm sorry, but I don't know a banker that's going out and writing $250,000 checks. I don't. Maybe the owner of a bank is, but the owner of the bank is not working with farmers and ranchers or business owners individually. He hires loan officers to do that. He hires people to do that, and he pays them a wage. So a lot of people, they're taking advice and they're taking counsel from somebody that doesn't understand the weight of writing a $300,000 check, that doesn't understand the weight of being $2 million in debt, that doesn't understand the emotional weight that comes with all of this. Managing a team, having multiple different things happening inside of your business at one time. It's a different conversation. Problem number 3. You avoid the numbers at all costs because deep down you fear the truth. You fear the truth of the numbers. And let me change my, let's get some green here. You fear the truth of the numbers. A lot of us do this. Deep down, there's like this feeling deep inside of you. You know when you're making decisions throughout the year, prices drop or whatever it may be, you know what the numbers are going to say. You know things are not looking good, but the thing is that the numbers scare the shit out of you, so you avoid them at all costs instead of facing them head on, because the stories that you can tell yourself, if you can mentally just get over these bad couple days when prices dropped or you had massive breakdowns and you know huge bills coming, if you can just tell yourself happy and go lucky stories saying, hey, everything's going to work out, I'm not even going to look at the numbers because the reality is I know deep down everything's going to work out at the end of the year, and then it doesn't. And how many people are absolutely frozen and refuse to look at the numbers because they are scared of the truth that the numbers will disclose. And here's the thing, my friend, numbers don't lie. Numbers across every area of core 4, they don't lie. The scale for body doesn't lie, right? The number of stacks you complete inside of being doesn't lie. The number of date nights you take your wife and your kids on doesn't lie. The finances inside of your business, those numbers, they don't lie. The numbers always tell a story. The numbers always disclose the truth. And again, a majority of people, they avoid the numbers at all costs because deep down you fear the truth of the numbers. Moving into problem number 4, you shoot from the hip with every financial decision, telling yourself everything will work out in the end. Next year will be better. Yep, I know we had record rainfall this year. Weather was just once in a century type of storms this year. Next year will be better. All we have to do is just get to next year. Hey, honey, I know things are stressful right now. I know things are struggling right now, but just give me 6 more months. Give us 12 more months. Give us 2 more years. I'm going to take over more farm ground. I'm going to work harder. And we will one day reap the rewards of this. How truthful is that? What's the likelihood that that'll actually happen? Because it's not very high. And you know this, that's why you're here with me. So again, a majority of farmers and ranchers and business owners shoot from the hip with every financial decision, telling yourself everything will work out in the end. Instead of facing the facts and facing the truth of those decisions today and looking at the numbers, we like to tell ourselves these stories. And you guys see why I took you through the entire training on the stack. The stories, right? They lead to who you are being. Who you are being leads to what you are doing, and what you are doing leads to what you are having. And the stories that people like to tell themselves to hide the truth of their actual financial position, they're deadly. They will take everything you have built and burn it to the ground just like that. No sympathy whatsoever. They will destroy everything that you have worked your entire life to build, and they will take your family down with it. So again, problem number 4, you shoot from the hip with every financial decision, telling yourself everything will work out in the end. Number 5, you literally don't know what you don't know when it comes to the important financial metrics inside of your business. This is absolutely true. I have a business management degree. Okay, I took finance classes in college that I paid $100,000 for, this big education. And the thing is when I leave the banking industry and get into my own business, that education did jack shit for me. I was not trained at all on how to know the key metrics and make financial decisions inside of my business. The other thing, compare this to farmers and ranchers and other business owners, okay? The bank is not training you. The bank does not know. Your ag business degree did not train you on how to know the numbers. Okay, now you may know what your profit and loss is on a specific crop and things like that. That's great, right? But again, the best or the most important relationship that you have inside of your operation is the one with the bank. And if you don't understand the key metrics, the key numbers that the bank is looking at to make decisions on how much to finance you, how much your line of credit should be, are you cash flowing this year, what is your credit rating with us, what should your interest rate be? If you do not know those things, then you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. And again, it's not that it's your fault. You literally don't know what you don't know because of a lack of education. There's a gap in the system, not really disclosing the key things that people really need to know in order to make the right financial decisions inside of their operation or business, whatever it may be. Okay. Now we've covered the 5 problems, my friends. We're going to go a little bit longer on this video than we do in the other ones just because these things are critical. These things are so critical. So we're moving in now to the possibility. And possibility number 1 is you realize that the bank is a for-profit business. And like all for-profit businesses, when it gets to the end of the line, they will do what is best for their stockholders. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. Even if if you bank at a small community bank in Western Kansas, for example, the banks that I worked at, there's a board of directors. There are stockholders that have an interest in gaining a return on their investment in the bank. So at the end of the day, if it comes to either giving you another year to figure shit out inside of your farm operation and start making better financial decisions versus protecting their stockholders' interest and making sure that their stockholders receive a profit, the bank is a for-profit business. It's how this world works. It's how it all works. So you need to be aware of this, okay? Now, moving into possibility number 2, you realize your banker isn't on the field, but in the stands. Again, you realize your banker isn't on the field, but in the stands. Okay, for example here, when I was sitting in the bank, I was providing counsel, I was providing the raw truth to my clients because I knew the weight that they were feeling. I knew what the field looked like because I saw my family playing. I grew up raising cattle and sorting cattle and working on the feed yard every day. Like that's what I knew. I had been in the game. Now, did I have the financial backing? Was I making the big decisions? No. But did I see what happened and why our entire family farm operation went under? Yes. Okay. And a majority of bankers today, they're coming fresh out of college, my friends. They're coming fresh out of college. They're looking for a job. They're starting them at 40 to 60K a year, and they're just training them on how to be robots inside of there. Okay. They don't understand the weight of actually being in the game. They don't understand the challenges and the struggle and the fear and the stress that you feel being in the game. Now, this is true for all business owners. There's a difference between W-2 employees and business owners. Me, inside of my business, I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars per year just on Facebook ads. So there's a weight that comes with this. Do I have a team? Do I have employees that I'm responsible for? Do I have their families that I'm responsible for? Absolutely. There's a weight that comes with this. Right now, when you're talking to a farmer or a person that's a chiropractor, for example, a chiropractor with a team in an office and doing $2 million a year in revenue or whatever it is, it's the same conversation between the two because we all deal with different business challenges. But when you're taking counsel from an employee that is literally working 9 to 5, can't wait till Friday at 5 p.m. to go home and drink some beers and hang out for the next 2 days, and is literally just cannot wait until their 2-week vacation comes up, that is the wrong person to be taking counsel from. But yet we do it all the time. Your banker, majority of you, some of them, maybe some of them do have big farm operations. I doubt it, but some of them might. But a majority of them, they're in the stands. They're giving you counsel from in the stands. It's like Tom Brady taking advice from a random fan at a New England Patriots game. That's like, it's idiotic. It doesn't make any sense. The person in the stands doesn't understand at all what it's like when you have a 300-pound defensive lineman coming at you. Like, they don't understand that. There's no way they could understand that. It's different, my friends. Being on the field versus being in the stands. And bankers today, they're in the stands. And until they start signing the front of the checks and stop signing the back of them, they do not deserve my attention. Their opinion does not matter to me. I am going to make my decisions or take counsel from somebody that's actually running a successful business. My biggest mentors right now, the reason I use the chiropractic example is because he runs a chiropractic office. He grew up on a farm in Missouri. He understands me growing up, what I went through. His family still farms in Missouri. They're basically broke and these things, but he understands business concepts. He understands how to work through those things, and he understands what I'm going through, which makes my conversations with him extremely, extremely valuable. And I take counsel from him. Is he in a completely different business? Yes, but he's in business. He is in business. So my friends, again, your banker isn't on the field with you. He's in the stands, or she is in the stands. Moving into possibility number 3, you realize the only path to financial success and security is to become obsessed with the numbers inside of your business. You have to become obsessed. A majority of us, for a long time, we avoided the numbers because the numbers tell a story. And for right now, for a lot of you, the story is probably not going to be very good. It's probably not going to be very good. But how are you supposed to know what the hell you're supposed to do next and what decision you're supposed to make next if we don't know the facts of the numbers? So you have to become a student of the numbers. You have to become obsessed with the numbers inside your business. And again, the most important ones are the key metrics that the bank is using to make decisions on financing your operation. Like looking at it from the banker's perspective shows the true health of your business. That's really what you need to understand here. Yes, you can make decisions on what your profit and loss is going to be if you plant this crop versus that crop. I get that, those small things, and you are the expert there. But when it comes to the success and just cash flow of your operation and making sure there's money to fund your operation, your business, you got to understand what the bank's looking at as well. And in order to do that, you have to become obsessed with the numbers inside of your business. Number 4, you analyze every financial decision you make going forward because you realize the results are found in the numbers. In the beginning, when you're first facing the facts of the numbers inside of your business, I had to go through this as well. It was painful as hell. It was so hard to face the facts of the numbers inside my business. It was so painful, and just like what I said in the problem, I avoided it for a long time because I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to have to feel it. I did not want to have to feel the weight of that pain that I was dealing with. But here's the deal though, is when you look at the numbers and you see the results, there's either going to be bad results, right, which is what a lot of you are going to feel right now, but there's also going to be good results. And when you earn the good results are a result of you making changes, right? You starting to change who you are being, what you are doing, and at the end of the day, your result is a change in what you are having. So there's a lot of power and a lot of empowerment that comes from looking at your numbers and seeing good results. Because how does that fuel your production? Oh, it's going to fuel it massively. How does that fuel your power? It's going to fuel it massively. Because now you're confident, you figure some things out, you solve some problems, and you've proved to yourself that you can solve the problems. And that's why it's powerful to look at the numbers. 1, because we need to know when stuff is not good. And 2, we need to know when we actually have done a great job. We need to know when stuff is bad, and we need to be making changes, and we need to know when things are really good, and we need to keep doing what we're doing and executing in the right path. The majority of people today, they don't have any idea where they're at. So how are you supposed to make any decisions going forward? All right, then finally, moving into possibility number 5, you become a student of the numbers because you recognize you can no longer just be a farmer who knows how to put a crop in the ground or know how to sell a product. Crop consultant, seed salesman, crop insurance, whatever it is, right? So this possibility is aimed towards farmers or just business owners in general. Like, you have to become a student of the numbers because the numbers are what drive all success and all losses inside of your business. And you can't just know how to put a crop in the ground anymore. You can't just know how to raise some cattle and put some, make sure your cattle are gaining a certain X amount of pounds per month. You can't just be that person anymore. You have to become a student of the numbers. You have to understand your financial side of the business better than your banker does. And then finally, we're going to get into the problem versus the possibility. I understand we're about 19 minutes now. Stay with me here because I still want to continue rolling through these things. So problem number 1 was, you think the bank will save you versus the possibility for you. You realize the bank is a for-profit business. And like all for-profit businesses, when it gets to the end of the line, they will do what is best for their stockholders. Moving into problem number 2, you've been conditioned to believe that your banker is a trusted advisor versus the possibility for you. You realize your banker isn't on the field, but in the stands. Moving into number 3, you avoid the numbers at all costs because deep down you fear the truth of the numbers. Versus the possibility for you, you realize the only path to financial success and security is to become obsessed with the numbers inside of your business. Number 4 was, You shoot from the hip with every financial decision, telling yourself everything will work out in the end. Versus the possibility for you, you analyze every financial decision you make going forward because you realize your results are found in the numbers. And then finally, number 5, problem, you literally don't know what you don't know when it comes to the important financial metrics inside of your business versus the possibility for you, you become a student of the numbers because you recognize you can no longer just be a farmer or know how to sell a product. My friends, that brings us to the end of this training, this introductory training to farmer metrics and covering the problem and the possibility. What I need you to do now is share your biggest takeaway in the comments below. We covered a lot of things, my friends. So which ones were the biggest points that really hit home for you? Which ones have you personally experienced with? Share your biggest takeaway in the comments below. And inside the next training, we're going to get moving to the principles, and I will see you there.